Welcome back to Stoic Mindset Wisdom. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating crossroads of psychology and human behavior, understanding the best sex positions for men, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Opening. Hook, imagine this. You're in the most intimate moment of your life. But what if I told you that the position you choose in bed reveals far more about your mind than your body? What if your preferences aren't just about pleasure, but about hidden instincts, psychological needs, and the silent language of dominance? Trust and connection. Because the truth is, great intimacy isn't only physical. It's a reflection of confidence, brain chemistry, emotional security, and sometimes unresolved fears. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what you're about to discover may change the way you look at intimacy forever. Setting the tone, most conversations about sex stop at the surface level: pleasure, performance, and technique. But in reality, psychology plays an equally powerful, not greater role. Why do some men crave dominance while others seek closeness? Why does one position build emotional bonds while another fuels primal instincts? And most importantly, what do your preferences say about who you truly are as a man? This isn't just about positions. It's about decoding the hidden blueprint of your mind. Theme introduction. In this journey, we'll uncover the psychology behind 4 of the most common sex positions for men. Missionary. The position of emotional grounding, doggy style. The position of raw dominance and instinct, woman on top. The position of surrender and freedom, spooning. The position of comfort and lasting connection. But here's the twist. Each one of these positions doesn't just shape your experience in bed, reflects your mental state, your relationship needs, and even your hidden fears. By the time we're done, you'll see intimacy through a completely different lens, building suspense, raising the stakes. Think about it. What if your preference for missionary isn't just about closeness, but about a subconscious craving for safety and reassurance? What if your attraction to doggy style reveals not just dominance, but hidden stress you haven't acknowledged? Now, what if letting your partner take control is less about laziness and more about your brain begging for freedom from performance anxiety? Every choice has a psychological footprint. Part 2, Missionary. Emotionally grounded pleasure, scene setting, drawing the audience in. Let's start with what many consider the classic. Missionary. It's the position that often gets overlooked, even mocked, in conversations about passion. People call it basic, boring, or vanilla. But here's the truth. Missionary has survived across cultures, across centuries, and across generations for one reason. It speaks directly to the human brain's deepest emotional wiring. So if you're a man who prefers this position, don't underestimate what it says about you, because hidden inside the missionary position are psychological layers that reveal your desire for connection, your need for control, and your instinct to protect. The psychology of missionary. When you're face to face, something powerful happens in the brain. Eye contact triggers the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. This is the same chemical that mothers release when holding a newborn child. Creating trust and closeness, skin-to-skin contact amplifies dopamine, the reward hormone, making the experience not only physically pleasurable, but emotionally addictive. Proximity to your partner's face activates the mirror neurons in your brain, the cells responsible for empathy and emotional synchronization. In other words, missionary doesn't just feel intimate. It creates intimacy at a neurological level. Primal instincts at play. From an evolutionary perspective, missionary taps into a man's primal instinct, the drive to protect and to provide safety. Think about it. You're on top. You're leading. You're in control. But unlike positions of dominance like doggy style, missionary isn't about power, it's about reassurance. You're signaling to your subconscious, I am here. I am present. I see you. I am protecting you. For men, this often brings an unspoken confidence. It validates their role, not just as a lover, but as a partner capable of providing stability and security. The emotional dimension. Now here's where it gets deeper. Psychologists have found that men who consistently prefer missionary often share common emotional patterns. They seek emotional validation as much as physical pleasure. They are more likely to value loyalty and long-term bonds. They are sensitive to rejection and disconnection, making closeness essential. This doesn't mean they're weak, it means they're wired for attachment-driven intimacy. In fact, some studies suggest that men who lean toward missionary also score higher on empathy and relationship satisfaction. A story to humanize it. Man named Daniel. On the surface, Daniel was successful, confident, the kind of man who looked like he could handle anything. But in his private life, he always returned to missionary. Why? Because for him it wasn't about control, it was about connection. He said, "When I'm face to face, I feel like I can see her soul. And in that moment, I don't have to perform. I just have to be present." That's the hidden truth of missionary. It's not just about what your body is doing. It's about what your soul is seeking, suspense, raising the stakes. But here's where things get interesting. While missionary can build unmatched closeness, it also exposes vulnerability. Eye contact means honesty. Skin to skin means transparency. You can't hide your emotions in this position, and that's why. For some men, missionary feels terrifying, because being seen so closely means the mask comes off. So the question becomes, do you prefer missionary because you crave deep connection? Or do you avoid it because deep down you fear being truly seen? Part 3, Doggy Style, Power, Dominance, and Raw Drive. Scene setting, building, anticipation. If missionary is the language of closeness, Doggy Style is the language of raw instinct. It's primal. It's powerful. It's often fast, urgent, and animalistic. For centuries, this position has been portrayed in art, literature, and even cultural rituals as a symbol of dominance and submission. But beneath the surface, there's more happening here than just physical movement, because when a man prefers doggy style, it often reveals something hidden in his psychology, stress levels, and emotional needs. The neuroscience behind it, from a brain chemistry perspective, doggy style is fascinating. Unlike missionary, there's no constant eye contact. This lowers oxytocin levels, meaning less emotional bonding during the act. Instead, testosterone-driven pathways light up. These pathways heighten aggression, drive, and arousal. Visual stimulation also becomes stronger because from this angle, the brain processes cues of dominance and excitement tied to primal mating instincts. In short, doggy style feeds the primal brain, not the emotional brain. Psychological insights. So what does this say about men who prefer it? Psychologists suggest that men drawn to doggy style may be seeking power and control, especially if they feel powerless in other areas of life, experiencing stress or anxiety, looking for a quick release without the vulnerability of eye contact, craving variety and novelty, since the position is visually stimulating and physically intense. But here's the twist. Doggy style isn't just about dominance. For many men, it's also about escape. When stress meets desire, studies show that men under high stress or emotional pressure are more likely to choose positions like doggy style. Why? Because the position allows them to disconnect from vulnerability. There's no demand for emotional performance, no need for tender words. It's pure primal release. Think of it like this. Missionary whispers, "I see you, I feel you, I need you." Doggy style roars, "I want you now, here now." And sometimes that urgency is less about lust and more about the mind trying to offload stress. A story to humanize it. Take Michael. For example, Michael was a corporate executive. High pressure, long hours, constant deadlines. At work he was controlled, polite, always wearing a mask. But in private, he craved doggy style. Why? Because it gave him a space where he didn't have to be Mr. Perfect. He didn't need to smile or make eye contact or prove himself. He could let his raw instincts take over without judgment. For him, doggy style wasn't about her. It was about freedom. Freedom from the weight of responsibility. Freedom from constant control. This reveals the paradox of dominance. Sometimes, the act of controlling is really the act of escaping control. The darker side, But let's be honest, Doggy Style also carries risks in the realm of psychology. For men who overuse it or prefer it exclusively, it can sometimes signal a deeper fear of intimacy. Avoiding face-to-face closeness may reflect emotional walls, unhealed wounds, or even hidden trust issues. Some men unconsciously choose it because deep down, they're afraid of being seen too clearly. Eye contact means vulnerability. Vulnerability means risk. Risk means rejection. So by turning away, they feel safer even if it means sacrificing. Connection, suspense, raising the stakes, and here lies the tension. Doggy style can be thrilling, liberating, and wildly passionate. But it can also become a shield, a way to avoid emotional exposure. So the question is this: are you choosing doggy style because it excites you? Or are you choosing it because deep down, it hides something you don't want to face?